ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Lisa Anna Palmer.
I have an important question for you today. How do you become a leader that people love? Now, by a show of hands, how many of you agree that leaders have a huge impact on people's lives? Yeah, everyone, right? In fact, people don't normally quit their jobs. 50 to 75% of people quit their bosses. So think about it. What kind of leader do you want to be? Do you want to be the type who people are clamoring to work with, who want to work with you? They're sending you applications left, right, and center? Or do you want to be the type of leader that drives people out that revolving door? Or worse? What can I mean by worse? Well, in fact, did you know that around the globe, 2.4 million people lose their lives due to work-related illnesses every year? Wow, is right. 1.2 billion people suffer as a result of workplace stress. Now, some of you are going to say, how are you going to pin that on me, the leader? I know some of you are thinking that. In fact, it came up yesterday. Of course, there are other contributing factors, right? If people are sitting there all day and maybe they're stressed out, they're eating chips and pop when they get home. Sure. However, as a leader, you play such an important role in setting the tone of what happens in your organization. You influence the culture. And you're constantly giving cues on what's appropriate and inappropriate behavior. So if people are being bullied in your organization, guess what? You're accountable for making sure that doesn't happen. And even more, you are responsible for not being that person who bullies others, who drives clients to me saying, you know what, Lisa? I thought of taking my life because of what happened to me at work. So think about it. What kind of leader do you want to be? Do you want to be the type who people are excited to be with, who brings meaning, excitement, and joy into people's lives, who pushes them to do wonderful things and to have fun at work? Or do you want to be the type of leader who makes people ill or drives them into an early grave? Think about that for a second. Now, as you've heard, I've worked in HR for over 25 years. Let me tell you, I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. Sometimes it gets pretty ugly. So today, I'm going to share with you a few stories to kind of help you think about and clarify what kind of leader do you want to show up as. So I'll begin first with my own little story, a not so fond memory. So I'm going to set the stage here. So imagine this. I'm working in HR. I'm doing pretty high-level work, developing national corporate HR strategies. So here I am at the office, and a new manager comes in out of nowhere, practically. They parachuted her in. You know that story? Okay, so here I am. I've been working here for a long time, blood, sweat, and tears. So I'm sitting at my computer, typing out management committee submission. Type, type, type. You know, work 12-hour days for the whole week. All of a sudden, I feel this like hot breath on the back of my neck, like right here. I'm like, so I keep typing. Moment later, I see this bony arm come right past my ear and tap on my screen. Tap, tap, tap. Make sure you CC me on that note. Oh, you can imagine how I felt, right? My stomach just went, whoa, to big knot. So big that for 2 weeks I wasn't able to eat or drink properly. I ended up in the hospital 3 times on IV to get rehydrated. So they put me on morphine a couple of times, threw me back to work. This is why I do this work. I don't want anyone to go through what I did. Now, I promised you that there would be some good. And there is. There are a lot of good. You know, I'm sure you can all think of leaders who've made a huge difference in your life. People who you can remember, you know, maybe from 10 years ago, and who've made a huge impact. Well, I've had a fortune of working for one of these leaders. His name is Art. So Art was a director when I worked in HR as an HR business partner. And he had a team of high-performing people, which are not always the easiest to manage, believe me. We know what we want, you know, and Art was like, okay, what did I need to do to make sure that you guys have what it takes to be able to do your job and do a fantastic job at it? So Art's the type of guy, so he had a beard, if you can imagine, you know, gentleman. He'd been working there for about 30 years when I joined. And he had mentored people throughout his career to the point where he had a couple of VPs that he had mentored, people who were even gone on to become deputy ministers in the government. So that's pretty impressive, right? He grew other leaders. Now, I asked Art one day, I said, Art, I'm writing a book, and I'm wondering, what is your recipe? How did you engage us so well? And how did you grow such fantastic leaders who are now high performing and making a difference in organizations? And he said, Lisa, like he would often say, Lisa, it's very simple. And then I thought, you know what gentlemen or even some women from that generation would say, you know, you got to light a fire under their ass. Right? I said, what is it, Art? He said, I have a simple recipe. And here it is. Envelope, please. I'll read you Art's simple recipe for lighting a fire in their hearts. Number 1, hire people who are smarter than you. Park your ego. Let them shine. Number 2, be nice to them. Be kind, compassionate, care about them. Number 3, give them a lot of room to allow them to grow and experiment and try new things. Number 4, if they get into trouble, and they will, especially if you're letting them experiment, step in and defend them publicly. And they'll have your back forever. And lastly, he said, if they do well, celebrate. Thank them. Give them credit. The bonus is that when you celebrate and give credit to your employees, it's like karma. It comes right back to you. So that's Art's recipe. And I would add, because I worked with Art for several years, add some fun in there. Make sure your people really connect with you. So that's kind of when the seeds were planted for me in terms of what does it take to light a fire in the hearts of employees. It's about being a great people leader. It's about being genuine, respectful, engaging, authentic, and a talented people leader. And this is the kind of message I'm imparting to the people that I work with every day as a coach, as a trainer, as an author, is that when you want to light a fire in the hearts of people, when you want to engage them to the point where they'll do anything for you, what it takes is the ability to connect at the human level through compassion, courage, and competence as a leader. These are the kinds of things I impart to leaders I work with. For example, Samantha works in a highly toxic organization, and things aren't going too well there right now. Sometimes when I think about the changes they're going through and some of the things that are happening in that workplace, it makes my skin crawl. However, after working with Samantha for several months, she is now like a beacon in this organization. I ran into one of her employees recently, and I asked her, how are things going? I heard what's going on at your organization. And she said, I'm so lucky I work with Samantha. She cares about us. She's got our back. And if it wasn't for her, I would have gone a long time ago. Because if you want to be the type of leader that people love, guess what? You need to love the people who you're leading. And if that's the type of leader you want to be, go to lisaannapalmer.com and book a discovery session with me. And in the meantime, I encourage you to look at yourself in the mirror every day and ask, what kind of legacy do I want to leave? What kind of leader do I want to be? Thank you.